تلك آيات الكتاب المبين
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another great story. Our today's story is about Prophet Nuh. One day, Nuh's son saw his father talking to some people at the corner of the street. Nuh was saying to them, "We should only pray to Allah. Idols can't help us. Only Allah is our helper." Nuh's son called him.
"Excuse me, father, can I talk to you?"
Nuh excused the people he was talking to and came close to his son. His son said,
"You should not talk about Allah like this in front of other people. People around here love their idols and they don't want to hear about Allah. I don't like it when you tell others about Allah."
Nuh replied, "Well, I thought you would be proud of your father for telling others about Allah. Why don't you join me? Together we will tell people to stay away from idols and pray only to Allah."
"No way, father. Don't you realize everyone around here don't pay any attention to what you say? I don't think you have realized, but they make fun of you. As a matter of fact, they make fun of me as well, just because I'm your son. And I hate you for that."
With that, his son went away. Nuh came back to the people he was talking to and said, "I am sorry, my son. You know how these young people are. They care for their friends and their position and how they look." The people he was talking to didn't answer. They just looked at him as if they were bored. Realizing that, Noah said, "Well, can you give me some other time to talk to you?" The men didn't want to talk to him again, but Nuh requested repeatedly. "Oh, well, we are busy all day today. We can talk to you sometime at midnight. Yes, midnight. But that would be too late for you. No, that won't be too late. I mean, it's late, but since I have to talk about Allah, I will make it. The men had no choice left. They had thought Noah will refuse to meet him so late, but Noah didn't. So at midnight, Noah were with the men. "It's about Allah. I am messenger of Allah. Allah wants you to know that He has created the whole of universe and people should only ask Him for help." The men looked at each other and said, "You mean to say we should stop asking idols for help?" "Well, that's exactly what I mean," said Noah excitingly. The people didn't like the idea. They didn't want to listen to Noah any longer, so they told him to leave. Noah came back home. He entered the house thinking his wife and son are sleeping, but the two of them were waiting for Noah. His wife said to him,
"Well, I thought I have told you many times to stop telling people about Allah. Why don't you try to understand? Your family and everyone around you don't believe in Allah. We love praying to idols, so stop going around telling people about Allah."
Noah's wife kept yelling and screaming at him, but he didn't answer. The next day, Noah was out again, telling people about Allah. But there was no one who would listen to him. He saw some poor people near the woods. These people were busy collecting firewoods. Noah said to them, "Can I talk to you?" These people nodded their heads. Noah said, "Do you believe in idols?" They replied, "Yes, we believe in idols. We believe that Nasur is our God and we ask him for help." Noah asked, "But what is Nasur?" "Well, it's a vulture." Noah requested, "Why don't you come with me?" He took them out in the ground, where some vultures were busy eating the meat of dead animals. Pointing at the vultures, Noah asked, "Take a look at these vultures. Look at them. Can they be God? They can't catch a deer on their own. How could they help you?" Well, that was smart, and it made sense to these poor people. They asked, "Then who should we pray to?" "Allah. Everything is made by Allah, and only Allah can help us." These people listened to Noah very carefully. Then they accepted Allah as their God. Noah was very happy. Unfortunately, not more than 40 people accepted Allah as their Lord. The rest of the people continued to pray to idols. Many years went by. The more powerful people of the country were now making fun of him all the time. People laughed at him all the time. They also mocked the poor people and followed him. Noah was very disappointed. Allah knew how upset Noah was, so he comforted Noah. Allah said, "Why, you don't worry anymore. The rest of the people never believe in Allah." That comforted Noah a bit, but he was still angry. He prayed to Allah, "Oh Allah, I went to them in the morning and at night, but they only ran away from me." Allah already knew all that. He listened to Noah carefully. Noah made a request. "Oh Allah, kill all the bad people. Don't leave any one of these bad people alive, or they will cheat the good people." Allah accepted his request and said, "Now build a boat in front of me, just the way I tell you." Without wasting any time, Noah started to follow Allah's order. He called some of the good people and said, "We have to build a large boat, so let's get busy." They cut big trees. Then they sawed the big logs and turned them into panels. They worked every day for many months. Others made fun of them. "Look at these crazy people building a boat on a dry land." They would ask Noah, "Where do you plan to take this boat?" Noah replied, "I won't have to take it anywhere. Soon Allah will send a big flood. Everything will drown, even the big mountains. That's when we will need this boat." People were amused. "Very funny, very funny. Your Allah plans to send a flood. He plans to drown us. And he will save you. The crowd mocked and laughed. But Noah went on building the great ship. Finally, it was ready. Noah stored all the food on the ship. He called a meeting of 40 Muslims and said, "Now we will have to wait for Allah's orders. Soon there will be a flood. That's when we will have to get on the boat." The Muslims packed their belongings and waited for the orders. The rest of the town people went on with their lives. They didn't took the boat or the news of a flood too seriously. Then a strange thing happened. Not too far from where Noah lived was a bakery. The bakery had a large oven. The lady owner was famous for the good bread she baked in that big oven. One day she found little drops of water dripping from the tip of the oven. The woman didn't take it seriously. She wiped the drops and ignited the oven. The next day she found the whole of oven wet. Water was oozing out of the walls slowly. She looked around but couldn't find out where the water was coming from.
Did it rain again last night?
She asked people around her. "No, it has not rained for days," they replied.
Then where all this water has come from in my oven?
She asked everyone around her. No one had the answer. The next morning, the woman opened the lid of the oven. She was glad to see it all dry. She was about to bake her breads when suddenly the oven started to rumble. The bricks from the base of the oven started to come off.
What's going on? Why the earth is shaking?
The woman looked around and said, "That's when the walls of the oven ripped out and water began to flow out. In no time the bakery was full of water, and the water started to flow out of the shop. The news of water coming out of an oven reached Noah. He called the Muslims and said, "The water coming out of the oven is a sign of Allah. I'm sure the great flood is not too far behind." Allah said to Noah, "Very soon the flood will reach the highest mountain. Every tree and house and hill will be under water. This flood will kill all the bad people except the few. That will be for those who will be on that ship." Noah listened to Allah attentively. Allah said to Noah, "Gather a pair of the animals and bring them on board the ship." Noah went around with the Muslims calling animals. All the animals were already told by Allah to follow Noah's orders. The animals followed Noah to the ship. Noah boarded all of them. He then boarded all the Muslims. Before locking the doors, Noah looked around to make sure that there is no one left behind. The people found it very funny. Many had gathered around the ship to see what Noah was doing. Suddenly, dark clouds appeared on the sky. It started to rain. The crowd didn't take the rain seriously. Among the crowd, Noah saw his son. He was also laughing and making fun of his father. Noah went to him, held him from his arm, and said, "I want to save you, so please come on board with me." His son pushed him away and said, "Oh, you don't worry about me, father. It's just a rain. And if the water rises, I can climb on a mountain." Noah held him by the shoulders and said, "Son, listen to me carefully. This is no ordinary flood. It is a punishment from Allah. Soon everyone and everything will be drowned." But his son didn't listen. He took a step backwards, jerked his head, and said, "Would you please leave me alone? I can't be part of a silly plan." Noah was very sad to hear that. He just wished the boy listened to his father. Sadly, he turned back, went inside the boat, and locked his gate from inside. He went up and looked at all the people on the ground. There were few people left, as many had gone away to find a shelter. One onlooker said, "Well, this rain is usually hard." His friend replied, "You are right. I have never seen such a rain in my life. I think we should find a shelter." So the two of them turned and walked hurriedly towards their houses. Right then, earth started to turn from places. Water started to gush up from these holes. Soon the water was knee deep. The rain got even harder. The water from the earth came out with full force as well. From the boat, the Muslims could see people up to their necks in water. Soon, including Noah's son, ran for the mountain. Noah looked at his son, knowing that he will be drowned very soon. But there was nothing he could do. His son was climbing the mountain as fast as he could. But the water level was rising even faster. Suddenly a wave of water came between the father and the son. Noah looked at the mountain once the wave disappeared, but there was no sign of his son. In few hours, the only thing the Muslims could see was water. The dead bodies of bad people could be seen floating on the water. Noah came inside the main cabin of the boat. The rest of the Muslims were already there. They all were happy to be saved, but they were also sad for their families and friends who didn't listen and died. Noah said to them, "We should thank Allah for saving us." He then looked up and said, "With your help, we travel in this boat. You are our supporter. You are our helper." For many days, the boat went on sailing in high waters. By now, the only animals and humans living were on the boat. During all these days, the rain didn't stop. Every day, Noah went out and looked at the sky. There was no sign of sun. He then went to look after the animals. He found them sitting silently, as if they were thinking,
When the rain will end? When will we be able to leave the boat and go out in the open?
One early morning, Noah came on board and found a break in clouds. A streak of sunlight was able to find its way through. Then the rain stopped and clouds started to vanish. All the people came on the deck. A rainbow appeared in the distance. Allah told the water to dry up. Very soon the earth appeared. That's when Noah realized that they are on the top of a mountain. People were anxious to leave the boat. Noah said, Wait, let's take all the animals out first. They opened the animal cages. The birds came out and flew away happily. The land animals went out running and galloping. From the ship, the Muslims could see animals going down the mountains in every direction. Noah came out of the ship with the rest of the Muslims.
Where are we? How do we get home from here?
They asked. Allah guided Noah, and he brought everyone back to where they used to live. But it was hard to recognize the place. The town was now buried under tons of mud. Not a sign was left of any homes or shops. Muslims knew they will have to start all over again. Noah said to them, Before you go on with building your houses and neighborhoods, I tell you to keep in mind that you will only pray to Allah and you will not cheat or hurt anyone. The people agreed and got busy with their lives. Now, to read this story yourself, go to chapter 71 of Holy Quran, and remember, only Allah is your helper, so ask Him for help and enjoy reading Quran every day. Till the next session of great stories. Assalamu alaikum.